Phillies were down 4-0 after the top of the first. They surged for 3 runs in the home half of the first inning, and then they rallied after a Juan Soto homer in the 5th. Padres never really got shut down innings. That was the big problem. And they had a 5-run 4th inning, did the home team, Philadelphia Phillies. It's pretty cool for the Phillies, though. Pretty cool, because now they're 1 win away from the World Series. I hope you had the over. Kenny White told you to take the over in this game. That was his all-on-the-line play. And the over of 8 hit in the 5th inning as we get 16 runs in this one. And look, neither starter made it out of the first inning. You're probably thinking, man, is that the first time in postseason history? No, it's not. It's the second time in postseason history that neither starter made it out of the first inning. Back in 1932, Game 4 of the World Series, Johnny Allen for the Yankees and Guy Bush for the Cubs. Maybe it's Guy Bush, but I'm going to go with Guy Bush.
Were you at that game?
I was not. I was not at that game. 1932. Neither were you. You were not at that game either.
For those of you who don't like wins, Brad Hand got the win.
Brad Hand.
The least deserving winning pitcher in LCS history got the win today.
Phillies take a 3-1 series lead, Game 5 Sunday, back at Citizens Bank Park. Zach Wheeler on the bump. Gave up 1 hit in Game 1 in 7 innings of work. It'll be Yu Darvish for the Padres. And we'll see if the Phillies can get it done on home turf on Sunday. All right, back here with David Samson. How about these Phillies? I mean, it feels like a miraculous, magical postseason for them that goes all the way back to the 9th inning of Game 1 of the wild card series against the Cardinals. And they just find a way somehow. They were down 4-0 in the top of the first. They're able to get 3 runs in the home half, and then they just erupt throughout the rest of the game. Your reaction is what to what you saw from the Phillies in this game?
Well, you're not out of any game at Citizens Bank Park. That is the #1 rule in baseball. When you give up runs in the first inning at Citizens Bank Park, stay with it. You're not out of the game. It's a bandbox. When you have the offense like the Phillies do, you know that you're okay. The fact that they got 3 back in the first inning was huge. That's like a brand new game. But frankly, even at 4-0, they were not overly concerned. This was a bullpen game for both teams. Therefore, the offenses had to find a way, and both did. The Padres scored 6 runs in this game. Generally, you score 6 in a postseason game, you think you're going to win. But the pitching for the Padres was so ineffective. 2 major starting pitcher acquisitions for the San Diego Padres. Clevinger, how many innings did he get through tonight, Hakeem?
Didn't get through anything.
0.
Didn't even get
He
an out.
was Blutarski's GPA. That's what he did today. 0.0. Now, what about Falter?
It was his fault.
He faltered.
He did.
0.2. Another GPA. That may have been Tim Matheson's GPA. So what do you do when you have a bullpen game like this? You know you're going to have to find offense. You have Hoskins hit 2. You have Schwarber. You have JT. Harper's getting extra base hits all over the place. The Padres counter after Clevinger. They actually get 3 good innings from Martinez, but then they go with Minaya, another major pickup. Do you remember before the season when Hakeem and I were talking to you about the Padres rotation? They've got 9 starters. It's the best rotation ever. Well, you need depth in starting. You need quality in starting. And the Padres do not have it with Minaya. They do not have it. They do not have it with Clevinger. He was hurt, but still ineffective. However, they only needed to get 1 win in Philadelphia to get this series back to San Diego for Games 6 and 7. They had 3 tries to get 1. Remember the old NBA, 3 to make 2? This was 3 to make 1. 3 to make 1. Now it's 1 to make 1.
But it could be Phillies in 5, though. Could be. Could be. Could be.
It could be.
It could be, but it won't be if their bullpen continues to falter. Get this here. In the first 10 games of this postseason for San Diego, 33 innings pitched. On this night, 8 innings pitched, 7 earned runs. First 10 games, 7 earned runs. This was the break-your-back game for the Phillies, and they have broken the backs of several teams in this postseason. But this feels like you can't come back from this. That's what it feels like from a fan's perspective. What do you say?
I say that I'm going to need Yu Darvish getting me into the 7th at a minimum, and I'm not going to think about the fact that I'm facing Wheeler. Forget the fact that I've got to get through Nolan Game 6. I'm not thinking about that. I've got to find a way to get through Wheeler, who has been lights out. We've talked about Nola having not given up a run until his last start, his first start of the LCS, where he actually gave up a bunch of runs. But the reality is that when you are up 3-1 and you know you have Wheeler, you're feeling good. You're feeling about as good as you feel if you had Zambrano and Pryor and Wood going for you. And how did that go for the Cubs in 03? Not so well. So the Padres are not out of this series yet. They're mostly out of it.
Mostly out of it. And mostly out of it because this offense for Philadelphia, it's these same guys stepping up. It's Rhys Hoskins. It's Bryce Harper. It's JT Realmuto. It's Kyle Schwarber. These guys may not have the greatest batting average this postseason, but when it counts, they're coming up with big clutch hits.
So that's the big difference between the Phillies lineup right now and the Yankees lineup, let's say. Where the Yankees lineup, they're hitting $128 in the postseason, but they're not getting any hits when it matters. Aaron Judge tonight could have tied the game and ended up grounding out. When the Phillies need a big hit, and if they're only getting one hit a game from a player, that hit is when it matters. Kyle Schwarber, 3 extra base hits and 3 home runs in this championship series. Bryce Harper, 4 extra base hits. They are getting it done up and down. It's really exciting if you're a Philadelphia Phillies fan, and for this organization, you have an owner who wanted to spend stupid money. He said that. He wanted to win a ring and does want a ring so badly. He got Harper, and he then gave JT Realmuto the biggest contract ever for a catcher. He got Wheeler, so it's not as though he hasn't spent money. He found a way to get the back of the bullpen right. He made a managerial change early this season when the Phillies were going nowhere, and now they are 1 game away from going to the World Series. It's like Jack McKeon Part 2 here. Is that where Rob Thompson is? You never know.
Yeah, this is where I wanted to go next, and you took me right there because you're a professional, so I'm going to make the segue. This is a situation here where how do you not get romantic about baseball, right? They fired Joe Girardi on June 3rd. They were 22-29. Since then, they have gone 73-48, including the playoffs. Bryce Harper's walking around the clubhouse every day of the postseason. We are not losing this game. We are not losing this series. He was hit on the thumb on June 25th. They went 32-20 without him. How do you not get romantic about baseball when you see the Phillies, who scratch across runs in the wild card game against the Cardinals? The Cardinals were heavy favorites to win that series. Then they take down the reigning World Series champion Braves. Here they are against the Padres, who took down the Mets and the Dodgers. This feels like it's meant to be for Philadelphia to be in the World Series.
Don't tell anyone that they may have to face the Astros. Let's wait.
Let's at least celebrate and enjoy and respect what this team has done.
It's amazing. Talk about romance busters. That's what the Astros are. Listen, when you do an in-season managerial firing, you are hoping to light a fire, and that's exactly what happened here. I noticed something during the game that struck me. Harper and Rob Thompson, the new manager for the Phillies, they were hugging in the dugout, doing this hug where they were head-to-head and having a very romantic, close moment together, and they love playing for their manager. There was not a lot of love for Joe Girardi. It was always a very tension-filled clubhouse when he was our manager, and we fired him after he won Manager of the Year in 06. It was just a very tough atmosphere, and that makes players tighten up and not play to their potential. You bring in a manager like Rob Thompson, who the players love, and it's loose, and they're just realizing, hey, we're down 4 in the first inning. Let's look at the manager. Is he biting nails? No. The manager's there. It's as though they didn't score at all in the first inning. And all of a sudden you blink, and they've answered with 3, and they're on their way to getting themselves to 10 runs and a 3-1 lead in the series.
That's what I've noticed about Rob Thompson throughout these playoffs. Cool, calm, and collected. Doesn't get rattled, doesn't get shaken, comes out to the mound, says a couple words. Okay, men, take care of business, get the job done.
And he backs his players.
Yeah.
Remember, even when the pitchers get hit hard and they give up runs, he would say, post-game press conference, you want your manager to give messages during the post-game press conference sometimes.
Sure.
The very important messages when a player's not doing something, when they're not hustling, when the team is not playing well. But when they are playing well and just something bad luck happens where it's a base hit that could have been a double play, but for 4 inches on the ground, you want the manager in the press conference to say, hey, that's just the game. That's not the fault of the player. I have full faith in our team. And Rob Thompson's been doing that.
Indeed. And now he's got the Phillies, his Phillies, now 1 win away from their first World Series appearance since 2009, up 3-1. They can close it out on Sunday with Zach Wheeler on the bump. Wow, it's incredible what they have done as the Phillies one win away from a World Series appearance. By the way, the World Series begins next Friday. And hey, you want more from David Samson? Of course you do. Check out his podcast, Nothing Personal, delivering his unique take on sports from both a fan perspective and a front office perspective. Makes you smarter, both entertaining and engaging, and I'm not just saying that because he's sitting right next to me.
Yes, you are.
You can also watch on YouTube, Nothing Personal with David Samson. Download and subscribe today.
Thank you.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.